And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
All Creatures Big and Small, the two-player Agricola game, is a game I enjoyed a lot. I love Agricola itself, which I have over here. Fantastic game. Don't want to play it with less than 3 or 4 players. Here's a 2-player version, and this one was fun, fast. I would put it with my rest of my Cosmos 2-player games. In fact, that's where it goes, right there, because it is a very good game. Today we're looking at the expansion for it. Now, in Agricola, All Creatures Big and Small, it's all about raising creatures and having the most different types of animals at the end of the game. Well, this adds a bunch more buildings. This is the biggest small expansion I've seen. Let me explain. What I mean is, this game comes with, how many buildings? 27 new buildings. But in any particular game, you use 4 of them. You use the buildings from the original game and 4 of these. Now, I don't know that you can't use more than 4 in a game. I don't know if that's possible or not. It doesn't mention it in the rules. Maybe online people have tested it out. But it almost seemed like, wow, I bought this so I could add 4 tiles to my game. You say, no, Vasel, you didn't buy it so you could add 4 tiles. You bought it so you could add 4 different tiles every game. Okay, that's true, and I see that, but still, I was a little underwhelmed at it. And I guess I'm giving my opinion early on. I am a little underwhelmed. I mean, I'm glad I have it because I like the variety, but yeah, it just, the more buildings is cool, but this didn't really do much other than that. I could have bought those sheets of those 27 buildings, maybe come in a magazine or something. It just, then I would have been, oh yes, cool, some more buildings. But this had the idea of, ooh, a little expansion. Yeah, it's little, all right. Now, that's not to say the buildings aren't cool. So I'm going to show you some of the buildings, and then we're going to end the video because I've already given you my opinion. Let's take a look at some of the new buildings. Okay, the first thing the game does is it gives you another expansion and another stall that you can use, and that will matter because there's more things that you can buy. But we're going to take a look at actually some of the specific things that you can get in this game. So here's a lot of the buildings are simply things that will give you something immediately, like this country house, where it will immediately give you an expansion and a cow. That's a pretty big deal. That's why it's so expensive, and it's also worth a point at the end of the game. But I mean, that's neat that this is a cool addition there. The farm shop will immediately give you 2 different things, and again, there's a spot to keep a sheep here. And I like how a lot of these things have opportunities to keep stuff. This is a very unusual one where newborn animals can go here, but you have to empty it before the next breeding phase, so there's a place to move them to. Then we have the hay rack, which immediately gives you 1 of 3 different animals, or the fodder beet field, which immediately gives you 1 of all 4 different animals, although you have to have 2 of each animal already for that. So that's interesting. So there's stuff that gives you things immediately. There's also things that give you maybe special abilities. For example, here, at the beginning of the last 3 rounds, you get a free feeding trough. Well, that's not so bad. Or here, after the last round, you get an extra breeding phase. So maybe that's just enough to put you over to get the points for it. The carpenter, you can move your stalls and feeding troughs at any time. This one I like a lot. And this is one that if it's in the game, I will buy because I like the ability to be able to move and rearrange things. Buildings and feeding troughs cost you 1 less wood. That's okay. You're basically substituting rock for wood, but it's worth 4 points, and that's where it's at. And then here, before your breeding phase, you may trade 2 different animals for 1 other animal. I like trading. I mean, I like the fact that this can hold 2 animals too. So that's pretty neat. All right. More stuff with animals. Here we have the dog house, which basically means you own a dog, which will let you keep 1 sheep on any unused space that does not border the forest. So as long as it's not near the forest, you can keep sheep around because basically the dog's keeping them in line. Then we have the stud. Unused spaces adjacent to this building can keep up to 2 horses each. I like this. These are things that let you use your unused spaces. Here's a cow stall, which is worth extra points if you have a lot of cows at the end of the game. And then we have the pig stall, the same thing for pigs. Then we have a wild boar pen, which lets you keep pigs on the spaces next to the forest. We have a barn floor manufacturer, which immediately gives you animals again. Here, whenever you add a farm expansion, you may exchange 1 animal for a cow. Not really sure. This one is okay, I guess. The ranch, you can, if you get a horse, one of your borders, you can build one of your borders at no cost. This one I like, especially if I'm someone building horses. Only 1 animal is required to breed another one of the same type, as long as you have an insemination center. This one just makes me laugh. It's not that big of a deal. Doesn't come into play a lot, but I love the theme of it. Before each breeding phase, you may build a feeding trough by paying 2 wood, and before each breeding phase, you can do 1 stall action. So that's basically most of the tiles in the game. There's a few extra ones like the log house. If you have lots of wood in the game, you'll get that. The small extension gives you 2 points for every adjacent building. The large extension, 2 points for every adjacent building. The animal trader, you can trade animals for other ones. Get a free fencing action. A duck pond, which gives you free reeds. And a feed storehouse, which immediately gives you a stable. I mean, these are cool buildings. Some of them are much cooler than others, but you can see the variety, and most of them have to do with different animals. Well, that's that. I don't have much more to tell you. I'm just going to throw all this in the regular game, and I'll have some variety in that game. But would I recommend this expansion? I guess it's neat to have, but I just wish it had it more.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at DicetowerNetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
Shut the door.
Yeah?